Hello everybody and welcome to the seas of Old School RuneScape. In this series, we create a design for an island from the bottom up and send it out to you guys to see if it fits the Old School RuneScape theme. The sailing skill has to get here eventually, but before it does, we are going to be so ready for that island design competition. They probably meant art, but if they didn't, this is what I got for you today. The inspiration for our quaint little island comes from Jagex itself. They put forward the Great Conch Island, one of the several suggestions they put forward, but this island has Tortugans living on it. Turtle people. And the Tortugans are what we are going to center this adventure around today. As I said before, Tortugans are turtle people, shells on their back and all. And that brings us back to our island design, Shellhaven, surrounded by the Kelp Forest. It would be fantastic if Shellhaven took the shape of a shell, much like the Great Conch Island, but let's do a different shell. Just sailing to Shellhaven is a feat in and of itself because the ambushes start immediately. The Kappa assassins are ready to attack. Kappa being evil turtle people of a separate tribe who have a contested territory dispute with the Tortugans. And if that's not enough, your ship needs to be strong enough to push through the kelp. This could even lead into how we might ward off certain islands from level caps. Like you might need a sailing vessel of over 30 or 50 to break through the kelp. But when your ship finally pushes through the kelp, you'll notice a lot of shell-related architecture on the island. Turtle shells and seashells from all over the sea is also used with teak wood because that's the only wood on this island. Plenty of different fishing locations around the island exist because this is their way of life. They are a fishing colony after all, and that's been getting messed up lately, but we'll get into that in just a minute. Looking all over the island, you won't see a lot of wildlife as far as monsters to slay, but there will be a bunch of hunter locations where you can catch butterflies, implings, or chinchompas. But that's not the actual reason why we're here. The real hunter experience is down in the sea, because we're going to be presenting a new hunter experience, capturing Kappa Hatchlings. This will be a level 50 hunter activity. It would be similar to catching the baby Dagonoths if we could. But every time you catch a Kappa Hatchling, you'll get a piece of leather you can use for crafting later. The adults obviously aren't gonna like that you're kidnapping their children, and they will attack ferociously if you do it too close to the adult turtles. What if you got a hunter rumor for a Kappa, and you also got a slayer task for adult Kappas? Being able to kill 3 birds with 1 scone would be amazing. And in modern day Old School RuneScape, isn't that really what we're all looking for? And while we're going into the water to catch the Kappa Hatchlings, there are plenty of places to farm seaweed. And it's not just seaweed anymore, because we're introducing a growable kelp. Kelp is essentially going to be the next highest tier of seaweed. If you cut the kelp, you would break it down into 5 pieces of giant seaweed, making collecting soda ash even easier. And after you complete the Tortugan storyline, cooking soda ash is going to be so much easier too. But before we get into all the flashy things around the island, we have a problem to solve. The Tortugans are constantly attacked by the Kappas, a separate evil turtle tribe trying to take their territory. It'd be hard to go anywhere around the island without hearing mention of it. And if you still need to clear the Kappa, they probably are all over the island just waiting to fight. But heading into the center of the main town of Shellhaven, we receive our quest. The leader of Shellhaven asks the player to explore the Kelp Forest the Kappa are residing within. By removing a few scouting parties around the island, the player will receive a note detailing the plans for the next attack. After receiving the note, the player heads back to the town with critical information of when the next attack will be coming. Needing more crucial information to launch an assault, the player is sent back into the Kelp Forest to gather more information. Luckily, the Tortugans lend the player a turtle disguise to fit right in with the Kappa. We must sneak into the camps and gather intelligence on their plans while wearing a carefully crafted disguise. And this is RuneScape, you know that shit's gonna look ridiculous. Kinda like the penguin outfit. However, the player must collect the Kappa messages to and from Kappa Command to observe their actions. Once the player returns with the completed battle plans and the names of the 3 generals leading the tribe, it's time to defend the village. After preparing specific locations you knew would be attacked by fending off 5 waves of Kappa encounters, it's time to go on the offensive. And it's time for the player character to lead the Tortugan charge against the Kappas. The stronghold is at the end of the Kelp Forest, wholly covered in kelp. And we still have the advantage, setting up several different traps around the fortress sneakily before the fight starts could make the fight easier for you. But if you just want to YOLO it because you're max level, that's okay too. Leading the Tortugan straight to the front door and you'll come face to face with the 3 Kappa Generals. Essentially the Dagannoth Kings. You've got a general for ranged, magic, and melee. You can knock out 1 or 2 of the bosses for the quest encounter depending on how many traps you set. But of course, it is a refightable boss battle. And it will be tougher than the Dagannoth Kings mechanic-wise. We know the only thing tricky about Dagannoth Kings is chip damage. But once you've defeated the Kappa Generals and led the Tortugans to victory, the quest is completed. And things are peaceful. The player character unlocks the ability to craft turtle armor and is rewarded with a sack that can hold up to 200 soda ash to make cooking seaweed AFK. To receive the Kappa leather to start the crafting grind, you must either slay leftover Kappas around the Kelp Forest or by hunting Kappa Hatchlings and receiving their leather. Now and then you'd be able to get a shell to make the shell shield from adult Kappas. And the Kappa chest piece armor would need the shell too. But now is when the real fun begins, because we've got a brand new minigame, Sailboat Racing. It's a competitive minigame unlocked after completing the main quest. Players will race on small rafts or vessels around the island, competing against Tortugans and many other races in Gielinor. This game includes sabotage as a real strategy, making it a little bit like RuneScape's version of Mario Kart. So let's begin. What does this look like? Everyone starts with the tiny boat and they will dock around the port of Shellhaven. The master of the race will line everybody up with so many different competitors like Tortugans, Elves, Tazars, Kappa, Dragonkin, and anything else that could apply. Racing around the island, players have the opportunity to sabotage each other with oil slicks that they can light on fire to damage others' rafts. You could send out water blasts in front of or behind other opponents to shift their current trajectory. Or we can go old school and just throw out a plain old net to slow them down. This is a race after all, so whoever wins gets the highest rewards, but don't worry. If you're last, you still get a few sailor tokens, which you can use in the sailor shop. And of course, this is going to give you sailing experience, but what exactly are you going to earn from the sailing minigame? The sailor's outfit to get a sailing experience boost, along with a couple different cosmetic upgrades for your ship. It'd be cool to get customizable sails or even real upgrades for a ship, like an unbreakable rope or an unbreakable sail, one that you never actually have to fix. And my favorite thing about the sailing minigame is the chance to hire an expert level sailing companion. There should be basic ass sailors that you can hire at any port, but completing the sailing minigame could give you the opportunity to employ an expert level Tortugan, Tazar, Elf, or Dragonkin to sail on your ship, and they could be so much better than the basic package. But now that the mainland isn't on high alert, a new thieving activity has opened up to us. A thieving system similar to the artifact system for Piscarilius, or a thieving system similar to Varlamore, when you can go inside others' houses and grab specific things for unique loot, like artifacts or keys. And you'd be able to turn in these particular things most of the time for extra experience and gold, but every now and then, you have a rare chance of getting player-owned house stuff. You could get the Tortugan themed player-owned house, with many different island designs like turtle shells and seashells everywhere. unlocking the beach land plot. That could be just a new land plot that looks like the desert but that has one side that looks like a shore. Or unlocking the ability to build an aquarium within your own player-owned house. Basically having any fish floating around would be awesome. But those are some of my ideas, everybody. What do you guys think? Leave the best ideas down in the comments, and would you like to add anything to it? Until next time, everybody, don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe, and I'll talk to you all later.